Boy, the more I really start to look into this defense, the more I absolutely love this defense. And this might become a little bit of a theme as the weeks go by, as the months go by. But really, as I start to break down each player, each position group a little bit more and a little bit more, I just tend to love it that much more and that much more. My good buddy Dale Bliss over at Autzen Zoo really beat me to the punch and talked about Bryce Boettcher and Dillon Thieneman maybe being one of the best defensive combinations in the entire country. And now that's a strong statement, but it's a very valid statement. So go check out his piece. I'll link it in the description below here on YouTube and podcast. But right now, those guys, the reason why I really love this defense is really because of that combination at linebacker and at safety in the defensive backfield, as we know. These are high-level standard setters at positions where there's inexperience. Like, these are guys that have not only played a few seasons, that have that experience, that have a lot of snaps under their belt, but they've played high level of football. And like, you specifically look at linebacker. Let's start first with that one and Bryce Boettcher, coming off of a season where he was second team All Big Ten. Now, you have Devin Jackson that we believe is going to play next to Bryce Boettcher. He really stepped up and played more last year, pound for pound, maybe one of the fastest guys, maybe the fastest guy on this Oregon football team. But you look really beyond that. You look to the Dylan Williams, the Kamar Matudis, the Braden Platt. There's not a ton of snaps there, right? There's not a ton of experience as it currently stands in that room. So to be able to have somebody like Bryce Boettcher, and we know his story, local Eugene kid, double walk-on, and he said in his press conference, "Hey, I'm coming back to take care of business. I was motivated by what happened in the Rose Bowl. 1 year of eligibility remaining. I don't know if I could have lived with myself if I would have just let that sit on the table and head over to spring training." So let's talk about the whole baseball and football thing. This is usually a time of year when Oregon's baseball season is starting up with Bryce Boettcher out there in center field. You got to be nimble out there. You got to be able to cover all the grass out there in center field. And this is time where he maybe slims down a little bit and really focuses on his speed. But now that he's able to focus on football, he's really able to really bulk up into a big-time Big Ten linebacker.
The biggest difference is just his body, right? He's always been a guy that's wanted to have a little bit more size at the linebacker position. And when you're playing baseball and running bases and running around in center field, sometimes that's a little bit harder. The weight lift regiment is a little bit different. So just the ability to get those extra reps and put the weight on that's necessary for him to play at a high level.
This offseason, it was like my first winter that I haven't been doing baseball, where usually I drop about 10 pounds for baseball season. I put on about 10 pounds, so I'm sitting around 230 right now, which I think is great. If I'm able to move and do everything I can at 230, that, it'll just be beneficial to me. So, just developing as a football player, whether it's in the weight room and, mentally in the film room, I have more time.
I think that we're going to see the best that Bryce Boettcher has to offer. I think focusing on football for this one season, like we saw him take a very significant jump last season. I think we're going to see yet another jump here in his last season of eligibility. Like, if he can maintain that speed while putting on that extra muscle, that's just going to make him an even better linebacker. This is the year where he's able to really focus on football, that he is going to grow into not only one of the Big Tens, but one of college football's best linebacker, and you love to see that, certainly in the middle of that defense. Let's head over to the defensive backfield. Ooh, I get excited about Dillon Thieneman. It's very interesting when I kind of hear, whether it's other Oregon shows or other Oregon fans, and that they kind of hear things from people and hear things from coaches and how excited they are from a guy like Dillon. I kind of look around and say, yeah. I mean, having watched Big Ten football and doing the Big Ten TED stuff, I know what kind of talent Dillon Thieneman is. Like, he came onto campus year number 1 at Purdue, and he was a freshman All-American. Okay, 100 tackles in each of his 2 seasons over there in West Lafayette, Indiana. Like, outside of Caleb Downs, he's probably the best safety in all of college football right now. Like, he is going to be a tremendously important piece to this defense. But I think the biggest part, and what coaches have said, and what other players have said, and what insiders have said, is just the work ethic that he brings to the table and the example that he sets in the building.
This guy is an absolute pro with preparation. So he's an individual that's in here, early, leaving late. He's wanting to do bonus meetings. The millisecond he kind of made this decision to come here, the process really started of, let's learn this defense. So
professionalism is a perfect way to put it. Whether it's, like this morning I was in the treatment room at 5:50, and he was already in the tubs, shirt off, warming up. I'm like, dude, did you go practice already? He's about it on and off the field.
A guy that is infatuated with football, right? And infatuated with the extra work. There's probably not a day that goes by that Dillon's not in the weight room getting bonus work, doing extra rehab, getting extra film. His intelligence, all those things are really picking up, establishing some standards for the DB group and how they're going to operate. I think he's done a great job of that, and I know he's not satisfied.
You've got a very young defensive back group. I mentioned at the top of this. These are guys that are experienced where there's inexperience, and I'm really looking for, because there's talent all over the place in this defensive backfield right now. I'm really looking forward to having Dillon Thieneman in this group and having these younger guys learn from him, especially the guys next to him at safeties. Guys like your Kingston Lopez and your Peyton Woodyards that are really going to be entering their first season of significant playing time for this Oregon Ducks football program. Man, having Boettcher and Thieneman as leaders and as all Big Ten type of guys at these 2 positions, it just gets me more excited and more excited about what this defense could look like in 2025.